What's good, everybody? It's ORRION, and welcome back to everybody else who's coming back to listen to us. And this is Homeboy Talk podcast, and I want to go ahead and introduce my homeboy.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Deon Donovan, creator of the infamous Florida Man comic book series. Welcome to Homeboy Talk, home of all things pulp culture, video game, comics, and more.
All right, guys. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and take this moment to talk about social media and how it's actually being used for brand awareness. Most of you guys out there, you guys have social media or are connected to social media. The vast majority of the world is actually on social media, whether if it's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, or whatever medium that actually allows you to post your lifestyle in the social media, especially on the internet. What that entails is that it's actually being used to be a brand. You know, you might not be aware that when you are on social media, whatever you put on there is basically a representation of yourself, and whatever is a representation of yourself is basically considered your brand. You know, I know in college, especially if you're in any form of marketing or any other psychological field that has to deal with business and stuff like that, they're all going to talk about what consists as a brand. What is a brand in general and stuff like that. And we all do it every day. Some are aware of it, some are not. And such as when you're on social media, whenever you post something on YouTube, like what we're doing right now is we're doing podcasts. Whatever we upload is considered a representation of us, which all equates to being a brand. Now, when you're on Instagram, you do the same thing. Whatever you take a picture of, whether it's food, the current purchase that you made, or a meme you found on the internet, it's basically an expression of yourself, which also it's all tagged in it's all in line of you being a brand. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go ahead and discuss with you guys that what social media is doing for you guys. It works in a whole bunch of fields, not just podcasts, not just being an influencer on YouTube, not just being a TikTok uploader, whether if you're dancing or lip singing to a song, or even if you're streaming rather on Twitch. You know, that is not just a job, but that is also a brand. Everything you do, whenever you put your name, your watermark, your whatever you decide to do, your image, anything that you use, you put out there on the internet, is consists of you becoming a brand, whether if you're aware of it or not. And I want people to understand that whatever you put on social media is a representation of you and your past. I know that in current discussions, there's been a thing of having to explain your past, because I understand some of these celebrities are being chastised and judged heavily of their character and their demeanor because of past tweets. Understand those past tweets, those past posts on Facebook, those past posts on YouTube. You know, we all understand that we all as individuals are not perfect human beings. But I also understand that whatever we say in the past is not a representation of what we are now, because we all grow and we all evolve and stuff, you know. But understand that everything that you post on the internet is still consists of a representation of yourself, which all equates to a brand. But I understand that when you're on social media as a brand, what your goal is, if you plan on to we're in a world where social media is being looked at heavily and stuff like that, it also creates open opportunities. We have also have employers who is actually looking at your social media to see if you're someone that they can trust in the work field, even if you're off the clock. You know, so it's almost like, yes, you always got to be careful. You don't want to ever do something that will scar who you are, because even though when you're at work, You're also a brand, you're a representation of yourself, and you're also a representation of the company. And whatever you do on social media can affect you as well, you know? And this is the reason why, like, I've always advocated to anybody else that talked to me, it's like, hey, man, I want to do what you've done, you know, because I've jumped into so many opportunities. And trust me, if I let everything that I've done in the past leak out, it probably would have definitely impacted all my opportunities in the future. And I've learned from my past mistakes, and everybody else, like I said, everybody's not perfect, but everybody else is capable of redeeming themselves and rebranding themselves. And basically, once you've evolved and once you've grown up and matured and stuff like that, you are capable of rebranding yourself and renewing yourself in the public eye, where you're able to create more open doors and opportunities. But understand, you know, like, for example, you had Kevin Hart being chastised for all the stuff he thought. He had homophobic remarks and stuff, you know. It has affected him, but he's also explained himself. He says, you know what, take me for who I am. Understand that my tweets of past does not represent me of now, which ruined his opportunity to host the Oscars. It goes the same way, like the things that you do on the internet, you know, quote unquote, like we've got people today. I understand the economy is rough, but some people are resorting to OnlyFans. But if you work for an employer and you got an OnlyFans account, understand you're a brand of yourself, and it will ruin your chances of opportunities and stuff like that. And any opportunity, what if you have aspirations of wanting to be a teacher, but you have an OnlyFans account? You know? Well, what if you wanted to be to do a youth outreach, and you have sex offender on your record, you know, because of the things that you've done in the past. Understand that when you're on social media and whatever you do, it's a representation of yourself, and your actions are basically what you are as a brand. Your actions in general, whatever you say, whatever you do. And the reason why we have a podcast here is because we also want to show that, you know, as a brand, you guys will be able to hold yourself and be able to handle the criticism and the mistakes. Understand we're all human, but you got to be able to handle all of this stuff and evolve and mature in the end, you know. And I hope that, you know, as podcast personalities and hosts, that we can actually show you guys that, you know, how to carry yourselves as a person, as a representation of yourself, and as a brand, and understand that what opportunities come your way, your past does not affect it. And if you have a crazy past, there's room to fix it. But other than that, what are your thoughts of being a brand, especially in the world of social media?
Well, man, I definitely think that when it comes to the internet, there's almost a sense of a safety net. There's almost a sense of whatever you put out there is not real. It does not directly affect you right then and there. So, in that regard, you feel like you're safe. You feel like whatever I put out there is just the internet, and no one will find out, and there's no real life ramifications for what actions I've done on there. So, because there is nothing being physically done to you in response to what you do on there, you feel safe. You feel like nothing bad can happen. But when it does actually affect you in real life, it takes a different stand. So it's almost like you comment on something and it's rude, and you would never say that directly to a person in front of their face, but you do it on the internet because you can get away with it. You know, so imagine you posting yourself in a skimpy outfit and a seductive pose. You put it on the internet, but you would not take a snapshot of that same picture and hand it to your boss or hand it to a coworker, you know, in person. That would just be like weird, you know, that'd be off. You'd be asking for trouble. So I think we have to be a little bit aware of how the internet really affects you in real life, and how it affects you mentally as well, how you seek validation from the internet that you can't get in person, and you get kind of consumed by it, and it could lead to some very bad problems later on down the road. I think there also needs to be there's also a trend of witch hunts and cancel culture to try to make people feel, to try to affect people in real life, to that you have a sense of power. Like, if I repost this, that he said this or she said that, then this person might get fired. And that just gives you that just proves to you the sense of alert that you need to have, and the sense of security that is out there when it comes to online content and online posting. It does affect you in real life. And I think Twitter is like the worst place to the worst place to showcase and market yourself in a professional manner, because it's just pretty much a shit show.
You got Twitter the Witcher because it's a witch hunt.
Right. You're just gonna get into so many arguments, and you're gonna it's a mess. It's a total mess. And I know for the comic book industry, the way people treat each other on their these are professionals. The way they'll talk to a fan, the way they'll address a coworker, or the way they'll address someone who works works for another company, it's very, very it's in bad taste. It's not good, and it's not healthy. And I think some of that carries over to other industries as well. So yeah, you guys got to definitely just be a little bit more aware of what you put out there, and be more aware of what you do on there can affect you in real life. And it could affect your wallet. It can affect your mental health. It can affect your spiritual being. And definitely, if you're trying to go for the military, and you have a Confederate flag in a picture and you're holding it up, if it gets found out, you may not make it through BMT. You may not get accepted into the military. Right. Or things like that. It could affect you, and vice versa. And if you do have a BLM flag or a BLM shirt, and an employer finds it, they may not hire you. I'm just being straightforward. They may not hire you because they have some preconceived notions against that, and whether it's justified or not, it sucks, but they have the power to control that. So if they feel like BLM is a terrorist organization, they're not going to hire you. So you definitely just got to be aware. You have to be aware of what you put out there, because in the end, it could bite you in the ass, or it might give you a temporary boost, and you might think that things are going well, and then all of a sudden it crashes, and you're like, freak, I should never have done that. But the ride was nice, but it was so short. Now I got to start from scratch again. And how many redos are there out there? I mean, this is America. I mean, people like a redemption story and things like that, and an underdog coming back. But there's certain points where you put yourself in a bad position, and it's hard to dig yourself out of. And it's a stain that's forever on your brand, or it's a stain that's forever on yourself. And it's going to be very, very difficult to remove based on how badly you screwed up.
Because what we're trying to speak on here is brand is a term not just used in corporations. We're not, when you're thinking about brand, we're not saying that people are like Microsoft. We're not saying that people are like Sony or Marvel or DC or anything else. Brand is your name, yourself, what you put out there in the universe, the energy you put out there in the universe. There's things that you put on there on social media, your status, your comments, what you like, everything, every social media activity that you do is forever on the internet, and it never changes. Even if you try to take it off, it is screenshotted, it's recorded through screenshot, whatever they decide to do to try to keep that documented, to keep it online. Because YouTubers, if anything else, YouTubers are a great example of, you could try to bury the past, but it's going to come back to bite you in the ass, we could put that on a shirt. Try to bury the past, it will bite you in the ass, But man, like I said, when it comes to being a brand, and I'm saying brand as being yourself, and I'm probably just going to put it as that. Being yourself and whatever you put on the internet is something that you understand that, is is always going to be a representation of you on social media, and everybody's going to see it. Rather, if you were a cosplayer and you have employers that look you up and they see you as a Power Ranger, or they see you as a Ninja Turtle, or they see you as a cosplay thought, or whatever you decide to do, stuff like that, it not only opens the doors for employers to look at you, but also opens the doors for other future stuff. Like, understand that whatever you do is going to impact you for 10, 20 years now, because a lot of things do change. I mean, yes, the years do change, but your past stays in its time. So imagine that, what if you were to have kids 5 years, 10 years down the line, you know, they grow up and they look up your kids' social media and they connected it to your social media, and they've seen all the crazy shit that you posted in social media. Rather, if you're running around there with a liquor bottle in your hand and $100 bills laying on the floor, and you got a thong showing your ass and flicking the camera off, stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's your mom's on the internet. That's her brand, you know. Whereas your kid trying to grow up and trying to establish him or herself, trying to go the righteous path, you know, of wanting to be a Fortune 500 company, someone to be a part of that company, or start their own business, but has that past to carry with them. Understand the legacy that you leave behind and stuff like that, you know. It's one of those things that people should take in consideration when they put on the social media, you know. And yeah, like, I'm probably one of the people that's actually learned from my past and has evolved and matured, and understand that, like, you know, social media can be something that can harm you, or social media can actually benefit you. And I've been an advocate of both. I mean, I've been an advocate of all of that, and I've actually been basically demonstrated on each end, you know, how it's actually impacted me negatively and positively. But what you're able to do is, once you let people know that a lot of the stuff that you do in the past is not the representation of yourself currently and the future and stuff like that, there's room to rebrand yourself, you know. There's room to seek righteousness. I'm not saying that not saying that this is something religious, stuff like that, but if you want to get right with God and everything else, you know, by all means, you know, live that, you know. Understand that you have a past that you have to, not saying you have to repent from, but, you know, understand that there's a representation of yourself, you know. Call it as a path traveled, you know. You know, it's like, yeah, I've lived a rough path. There's a lot of people that I've seen who's gotten through rough paths and is able to become righteous afterwards and stuff like that, and live an entertaining life. There's this guy named 𝐀𝐔𝐃 who's been in prison for, I think, 12 years. Came out, became a YouTube sensation. 2.2 million views. 2.2 million subscribers on YouTube, and is just having fun. You know, got commercial deals. It's got living in a big house. Got twins, and he's been an advocate. There's room to rebrand yourself and live the path in the right mind. You know, I think there's ways to redeem yourself from being a cosplay thought or or OnlyFans thought. You know, there's ways to redeem yourself, even if you had your news leak on the internet. You know, there's always ways. But understand that everything you do and everything you do now and everything you do in the future is a representation of yourself, which is what you are, a brand. On social media, your username is now a brand name. What you do, with your actions, stuff you put on the internet, whether you're lip syncing on TikTok, or you're eating food and taking pictures of boba tea on Instagram, or eating avocado toast, that's your brand. That's a representation of yourself. Understand that there's so many eyes on the internet. There is literally billions, if not trillions, of views going on throughout the internet in cycle. Hours upon hours, minutes upon minutes, seconds upon seconds of content being uploaded for people to see, and for people to view, to people to judge, or to appreciate, or to inspire. That's the understanding of brand and everything that you do. You have anything else to add to that?
No, man. Only thing I got is it's hard to cover your tracks. You cannot remove what you put on there. Someone already screenshotted it, snapshotted it, whatever. And yeah, I mean, that doesn't go away. You know, people always bring up your receipts when it comes to criticizing you and trying to defame you or whatever. So just avoid the situation in the first place, and whatever you put out there, be accountable for it. Just fully well know that this might have ramifications, good or bad, and I have to accept whatever comes my way because I made a conscious decision to portray myself in that manner on social media.
Perfectly said, man. And that's our topic about social media and you becoming, or you are a brand.
And with that, let's wrap things up. Let us know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'm going to leave things out with my boy Ryan.
That's right. Thanks you guys for the love and support. Make sure you do all those things that my boy just mentioned. We're going to wrap things up here real quick, all right?